Watch Nebraska's Andy Jackson explode across the court. Her defensive speed and power are elite. In this video, we'll break down how she moves so fast by comparing her reactions and body mechanics to the fastest man in history, Usain Bolt. You'll learn how to train your own defensive movements to be quicker, more dynamic, and more explosive, just like the best. Look at Usain Bolt in the starting blocks. Notice how his ankles, knees, and hips are bent as he prepares for the start. This bend stretches and loads the big, powerful muscles of the hips, thighs, lower legs, and feet. When those muscles are stretched and loaded, they reflexively snap back, creating massive, fast muscle contractions that drive his feet into the blocks and into the ground. The ground then pushes back, and that reaction force explodes his body forward. Now pay attention to the two key movement principles that make Bolt's start so powerful. First, his feet are behind his hips. That positioning allows his legs and hips to push the ground backward, which launches his body forwards explosively. Second, to get his feet behind his hips, his entire body must lean forwards. These two simple yet powerful mechanics, feet behind the hips and a forward lean, are the foundation of explosive movement in any sport. Now let's apply these same principles to volleyball with Nebraska's Andy Jackson. Watch as she begins her defensive movements. She quickly drops and bends her ankles, knees, and hips and positions her feet behind her hips, just like Bolt. Then she drives her feet forcefully into the ground, while her upper body leans forwards towards the ball. The result? Her body moves forwards fast, creating explosive speed and world-class defensive reactions. Compare that to how most slower or less dynamic players move. They stand up almost straight, and then when they step forwards with their feet moving in front of their hips. When this happens, they lose the ability to load and use the powerful muscles of the legs and hips. The result is a slower movement and weaker digs. For decades, Powercore 360 has trained athletes to understand and use the ground, to load the feet, legs, and hips to create faster, more explosive movements for digging, blocking, and hitting. We call this movement concept the speed step. The speed step trains athletes to lean their body forwards toward the ball while driving their feet behind the hips in the opposite direction. This creates a rapid stretch and reflexive contraction in the feet, legs, and hips, resulting in explosive acceleration toward the ball. Many coaches mistakenly call this a wasted step, but in reality, the true wasted step happens when the athlete steps forwards, putting the feet in front of the hips, eliminating the ability to use the body's natural power source. The speed step isn't wasted. It's the secret to explosive defense. So if you want to move like Andy Jackson, quicker, faster, and more powerfully, train your body to use the same principles as the fastest human on earth. Now let's look back at these plays from Nebraska. Notice how every athlete on the court uses the same movement concepts we've been talking about. Watch closely. You'll see the same speed step in action across the board. Each athlete leans their body forward toward the direction of the ball, and at the same time they explosively drive their feet behind their hips in the opposite direction. That coordinated lean and push is what allows the entire team to react and move faster, lower, and more explosively to the ball. This isn't random movement. It's trained, intentional biomechanics. Nebraska is a perennial powerhouse in women's volleyball because their athletes don't just play hard, they move efficiently. They know how to use the ground, load their muscles, and create explosive acceleration from every defensive position. And the best part? You don't have to be a Division I athlete to train this way. You can learn to move like these elite players by mastering the same speed step principles that drive their explosive defensive play. When you train with the Powercore 360 system and methods, you'll develop the same movement mechanics used by the best, so you can react quicker, move faster, and play more dynamically on every ball. You've seen how Andy Jackson in Nebraska moves, and how the world's fastest man moves. Now it's your turn. Learn the speed step. Train with Powercore 360. Move quicker, hit harder, play faster. Visit powercore360.com and start training for explosive defensive play today.